Older couples that decided to not have children, how do you feel about your decision now that years have passed? For my spouse, I can only say that they have physical and psychological issues that they've mentioned that they'd rather not pass on to a child. For myself, I've always said that while I'm occasionally afraid that someday I might regret not having children, that's not the same as wanting children, and that's an important difference to me. I have my own reasons to believe I'd probably not be a good parent. Yeah, we both get concerned sometimes whether anyone will be asked to care about the sole survivor once the other's gone or incapacitated. But this thought is the result of our decisions, not a basis for changing our minds about having kids, which we will not. Having kids or not is no guarantee that you'll end up cared for or not anyway, though it does probably move the needle on your odds. Mid-40s couple. We feel regrets. Lots of regrets. However, we are a somewhat special case, and might still have a shot. We are past the normal age of having a child, but we froze our gametes ages ago, just in case we changed our mind about not having children. For us, the decision not to have kids was more practical than ideological. At the time, we both had chronically ill family members that required a lot our time and, more importantly, mental energy. The idea of throwing a kid in the mix seemed unpleasant and unfair all around. Also, neither of us had much desire to have kids. We just enjoyed each other's company, and that was more than enough back then. Having kids seemed like a hugely stressful experience even in the best of circumstances, and we could easily sidestep it. So why not? I was the type of person who loved kids. I adore all my nephews, as long as I could give them back to their parents after some time. I am a geneticist, and the full reason I thought we should freeze our gametes was that I thought, if we did ever decide to have kids, even while we can still do it naturally but we are older, I wanted us to have young gametes and to have the embryos screened. I know this seems unromantic, but see our practical attitudes towards life. Above, things are really different now since we made that decision not to have kids all those years ago. We have fewer responsibilities and our financial situation is great. We've had the chance to live and travel all over the world, live for our careers, and spend years and years in just the company of each other. I feel like we got all we can out of being child-free, and we feel a longing to have a family of our own, meaning a family of more than just us two. So, now we feel a lot of regrets. Regrets about not having a kid at all and not doing it when we were younger. Old as we are, we will likely now go back to our egg and spermicles and give it a go if our doctor says it's okay. The funny thing is, I think my answer might be completely different if we were in the same situation now but didn't have the gametes available. I think we might not allow ourselves the luxury of regrets. When what's done is done and can't be reversed. I think it's natural to just want to look at the brighter side of things, particularly when it's a mistake you can't learn much from. We ended up adopting our nephew because his mother is irresponsible to a disturbing extreme. He's 20 now and we may end up adopting his sister soon as well. This is not how it was supposed to be, but I guess it means that there's nothing to regret. I wanted them but never met the right person. I'm really glad I didn't have any of my previous partners. They would either have made terrible mothers or we just did not make for a healthy couple. I have the perfect partner now, and she did fall pregnant, but we lost the baby to Dandy Walker syndrome. Getting a bit too old to try again now. I am very upset that I will not have children, but I don't regret not having children with anyone but my current partner. I have a professor at my university who has been married to his wife for 50 years, and they have no children. He calls us his children and always talks about how he and his wife are inseparable. He's a really eccentric and energetic guy, even in his 70s. He gives out candy to the entire class before every lecture he gives. He seems like he truly loves life and has no regrets about not having any children. Well, I'm a dude in a relationship with a dude, 26 years. We could have had children but didn't. Have plenty of nieces and nephews to spoil. Also, we've been able to save and we are retiring this week. I'm 54. No regrets. Not everyone wants them, and if you're not sure, it's best to hold off. Having ambivalent or worse parents does a real number on a kid's self-esteem. Yeah, as the child of someone who clearly didn't want kids but just did it because it was what you were supposed to do after getting married, Please don't have children if you're not 100% into the idea of it. Kids should be wanted. Been married for 21 years and initially we tried to have kids but found out that it was going to be hard to do. Wife was heartbroken at first, but I was somewhat relieved. It's a lot of responsibility and your life changes to accommodate a child. Over the years, wife has actually said a few times that she was glad we didn't have kids because we couldn't have had the adventures we did. I feel like it was the right choice and we're better off due to not having kids. We love our life and are continuing our adventures now in our 50s and we're starting to make plans for retirement. I'm a 49-year-old female and have never regretted my decision to not have kids. I think I've always been missing the mommy gene. I like not having the responsibilities and obligations and expenses that go along with having kids. I always thought I'd wake up one day and be clucky and ready to start a family. That day never came and I'm pushing 50 now, so I've missed my chance. I sometimes wonder if I made a mistake not having kids, but it's not something I really regret. On the plus side, I am looking at retiring with a 6-figure income at 52. Regularly donate and do charity work. In fact, I am looking at starting my own charity at the end of the year to dedicate more time to when I retire. In some ways, not having children will allow me to help more people than just my immediate family. My suggestion is do what feels right. Either way, it's a big decision that only you and your partner should make. We've been married 20 years. We are both 50. Neither of us wanted to bring children into our family. I spent a wonderful afternoon with my 16-year-old niece yesterday. We talked about her boyfriend, picked blackberries and discovered a woodland clam, fingernail mussel, living in a mud puddle, vernal pool, in the woods, which we named Fred. It was magical. I just adore her. Not having kids is just as normal as wanting kids. I've always felt zero regrets. My husband and I are 48. Not having kids is a huge relief. Still, we get to travel, have a nice house, walk around naked if we want, and I have disposable income to support causes that are important. My life is fulfilling and happy. I go back and forth. Misa has some significant mental health issues and I know that I would be alone doing much of the emotional labor of raising a child. And I know I'm not really capable of doing it alone. Sometimes I worry very much about what I will do when I am old. I'm an introvert and don't have many friends and am not overly likable, so I assume I will be alone. I just hope that there are some kind robots to take care of me, and that I'll die before the robots turn on us. This point is often made, but bears repeating. Having kids is not insurance against dying alone. My husband and I are in our 50s and have been married 19 years. We both grew up with abusive dads. Were the smart kid in the family, got the hell out ASAP, worked our way through college and made something of ourselves before meeting and getting married. A lot of common ground and we've built a strong, rock-solid marriage. We considered having kids. But after working so hard on healing from the childhood abuse and escaping the cycle of poverty we grew up in, we decided long ago that just the two of us was enough. We still consider ourselves a family and we've been really happy with our life together. Our home is peaceful and that's the thing we care about the most. If I had to choose now, knowing what I do, between becoming a mother and having the marriage and home life I now enjoy, it's absolutely no contest. Zero regrets. I fear the answer to this. I'm ambivalent about kids, but I'll never forget holding the hand of a man on his last day in hospice as he said, "Oh God, I wish I'd had a child." He was married to one woman for close to 50 years, taught for nearly 40. His room was filled with cards and photos from former students, friends, and family. It's impossible to say if he was lucid, but the regret in his voice was heartbreaking. I say now I'd be happy with children or none, biological, adopted, or step, but until the end I won't ever know. I'm not a couple, just a person. I've been in lots of relationships and was married twice. I would not have made a good parent. Regret sometimes I wasn't born into a different life. But given the cards I was dealt, I think I made the right choice in that department and have no regrets. My wife and I have been married for 12 years. I am 36 and she is 40. So, yeah, likely not in the cards. It is a reality that, while tough, I am slowly learning to accept. I realize that as a guy, I always look at having kids with rose-colored glasses, ball games, working on my classic car with them, dad jokes, the fun stuff. That's easy for me as it's not my body and sacrifice. My wife is not on board and it's her body and I love and respect her too much to force her hand. If either one of us are not 100% okay with a major decision, we don't do it. End of discussion. I look forward to spoiling my nieces and nephews and spending more time with my wife and continuing to make our world about us, forever. I go through phases where I regret not having a kid. I still have plenty of time. My wife and I are 36. But we made the decision to be childless a decade ago, maybe more. I understand the appeal of having children and feel it on some primal level, but logically the pros versus cons of having a kid. There are just far too many cons. I go through phases. You would if you had kids too. I'm 60 now, been married for 29 years. God did not provide me with the proper temperament to raise children. Have never regretted our decision to be child-free. We're good thumbs up light skin tone.